Pete Carroll is surprised on how bad the Raiders have been so far. Adam Butler calls out the offense, Geno Smith looking to be the leader the team needs, and the Raiders are favorites to land quarterback Kyler Murray. Yo, what is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy, Samoan Raider, back at it again with yet another video. If this is the very first time you guys are coming across the channel and you love Raiders content just like this, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification icon button. That being said, let's talk about Pete Carroll and just the season so far. Of course, the Raiders are sitting at 2-7 going into Monday Night Football on prime time in front of the millions and millions of fans watching at home, and it's not a good taste. I mean, both teams are really bad, but that does not stop the Raiders and even Allegiant Stadium from making a profit, because this is the second most expensive ticket on the market this weekend. It comes as no surprise because we are playing the Dallas Cowgirls and some of their fans do actually travel, and it's Las Vegas at the end of the day. And when asked about the situation of the Raiders right now sitting at 2-7, Pete Carroll basically said that he did not expect the Raiders to be this bad. I mean, we didn't expect it either.
The first part of the question, how do I handle it? Not very well. It's been crappy, you know, and this is not what I expected to happen, and I didn't feel that we would be this far behind the start of the season, you know, and so we're just trying to just keep driving the messages home and trying to get better each week and do some things that we can build from. You know, it's a kick, it's a block kick, it's an OT catch, it's a, you know, there's 4 or 5 games here that could have flipped just like that, just with just small margins of better play and better execution, better calls and all of that we know, you know. And so, but unfortunately, it still is what it is, you know, and then we have to deal with it. So I'm not very well versed in being in this situation, and I don't have the experience about that, and I'm happy to say that, but I don't like it one bit, and it's been hard.
No, it really does suck, because I believe that this team on paper has the weapons to be much better. And when you look at a lot of the different games that we've had, the one-score games that we lost the past couple of weeks, I've stated it before, the Raiders could be 5-4 right now. Things went our way, going from the blocked field goal against the Bears, the missed extra point against the Jags, and the blocked punt against the Broncos. This could have been a whole different story, and we would be at least a little bit more positive than we are right now. But no, that's not the case. We're 2-7, or what our record says we are. I did not stop reporters from asking Pete Carroll on his job security with how bad this team has been so far.
Like, when you're dealing with something like this, dude, like the thoughts of job security or your future to organization, do those thoughts ever creep up, or do you?
No, I don't think like that. You know, I really don't. I can't go there. You know, it's been 20-something years just in these last 2 opportunities of head coaching that hasn't been in my mind at all. So I'm not going to start now.
Now, you really could see how tough it is for Pete Carroll having to answer all of this and having to answer for a bad team, and he continues to be a broken record every single week. I mean, this is what happens when you coach the Las Vegas Raiders. We see a lot of these coaches do the same exact thing, have a lot of hype in the offseason for the season not to go as planned, and to see their face slowly turn into a frown. I mean, there's not that much that Pete Carroll can say right now that could change anything. They just got to go out there and show it and prove it and win more games moving forward. It all starts with our head coach, Pete Carroll. Now, one thing I know a lot of Raider fans are really frustrated with Pete Carroll is the fact that he is just so gung-ho about Geno Smith and not wanting to move on from him, and rightfully so, because I know if you move on from Geno Smith, that means you're saying that the season is over. I know that's your quarterback, that's your guy, you don't want to be wrong, but sometimes at the end of the day, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to say that, hey, I fucked up. I will give him credit for at least admitting that things are just not going his way, admitting that it hasn't been working. Shoot, it took up until now for Geno Smith to actually take some accountability. I mean, he posted a post on Instagram with the caption reading, "Great things come from hard work and perseverance. No excuses. Stay focused, purpose driven." I mean, it's comical at this point, but what else do you expect Geno to say out there but just to own up to it and say that there's no excuses moving forward, because I think that his days in the silver and black are really, really numbered. Now, that said, we did get to see Geno Smith return to practice yesterday after suffering a quad contusion, and he was asked about, you know, being that leader and how he would lead this team, especially after being 2-7.
Sometimes, you know, when things are going great, you know, it's easy to be a leader, but when things don't go as expected, when you know, you have some hard lessons and you got to learn some things, that's where the leaders show up. You know, for me, I feel like I'm at my best when my back's against the wall. I wouldn't say that's the case now, but, you know, I just feel like when things are at its toughest, I just have this way about myself that I dig deep and I find a way. And I've always done that. And I don't see this as no different.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if he's at his best when his back is against the wall. We'll just have to wait and see. We got 8 more weeks left in the season, and it's definitely going to be a dress rehearsal for Geno Smith. I know a lot of things haven't gone as planned for him this season, but if he doesn't clean up his act, then I don't see him being on this team moving forward. And I know us Raider fans aren't just frustrated, but heck, some of the players in the locker room, I know they see it as well. I know they're frustrated as well, but they can't really say too much. They can't really knock other players or throw anybody else under the bus. But Adam Butler just a couple of days ago didn't really hold back from it and basically called the offense out, saying that, they're not really doing their part.
For me personally, the mentality is the same. Just do my job. It's very frustrating. Sometimes I can't lie, when the other side isn't delivering the way you think that they should deliver. It's sometimes frustrating when we don't deliver how we should deliver, but with everything stated, everybody can see what's going on. We know what's going on. And the only thing we can do is do our job. So I just focus on doing my job and focusing on helping the team win. That's why I try to make big plays and try to make sure that I'm disruptive.
Now, Pete Carroll didn't take those words lightly, and I actually got exclusive footage of Pete Carroll scrapping with Adam Butler and going at it with him at practice. All jokes aside, I thought that was a funny clip, and I was like, out of all people, it was Adam Butler. But it's true, though. I agree with everything that Adam Butler has said, and I feel like a lot of Raider fans have said the same exact thing, and you've seen it against the Broncos this last game that we had on Thursday Night Football, that the defense really showed up to play, and the defense has been holding it down for this team for the most part this season. It's just the offense that hasn't been keeping that same energy, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's Geno Smith, whether it's the play calling and Chip Kelly. A lot of things are not gelling on the offensive side of the ball, and I know that could be really frustrating to watch and even see when you're on the sidelines. And in a game like this against the Dallas Cowgirls on Monday Night Football, this is going to be a huge test for Chip Kelly and the offense, because they're going up against a Cowboys team that doesn't really have a great defense. A lot of teams score multiple points on them. They run the score up on the Dallas Cowboys. So with that said, there should be no excuses for the Raiders not to put up points against this team, especially on prime time. Now, I know that it's going to be a little bit different now that the Cowboys acquired Quinnen Williams and also got Logan Wilson before the trade deadline. Even without Jacoby Myers, the Raiders have more than enough to put a solid offensive showing on Monday Night Football. Heck, even our offense coordinator, Chip Kelly, admitted that he didn't do a great job on Thursday Night Football against the Denver Broncos.
The balance between making sure Brock isn't like force-fed in coverage, but also making sure he gets more opportunities.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We have to get him involved. He's obviously our number one threat out there, and we got to continue to get him involved in terms of what we do. Jacksonville and New England were a good example. We didn't do a good job. I didn't do a good job in the Denver game. A lot of those plays that were supposed to go to him, we got sacked on. And part of that was the protection and what Denver could do defensively going in. We knew they had a great pass rush, and so we were in a little bit more max protection. And now you're not being able to uncover them sometimes, so you allow them to double them and do those other things. But part of their scheme allows them to do that too. So, but we're real conscious of knowing what do we have available this week, and how do we have to get the ball to them.
So with that said, I just hope that the offense can get back on track on Monday Night Football. It's going to be a big dress rehearsal for Chip Kelly, for Geno Smith, for Ashton Jeanty, for Brock Bowers. Heck, even this offensive line to show what they can do out there. All right, quick timeout for today's sponsor, Mint Mobile. Premium wireless service without the premium price. Now, you know how most phone carriers make everything so complicated, from the salespeople to going in stores to the hidden fees and so much more. Well, Mint Mobile flips the whole script. Everything's done online, making it fast, easy, and reliable. Mint Mobile gives you unlimited talk and text on the nation's largest 5G network, plus free calling to Mexico, Canada, and the UK. You can even use your mobile hotspot because, yeah, that's included too. And here's what really sets Mint Mobile apart. You choose what you want to pay for. Whether you need 5 gigs, 15 gigs, 20 gigs, or heck, an unlimited plan, you pay for only what you actually use. Plus, the more months you buy up front, the more you save. Switching's easy too, because you can do it from the comfort of your own couch. And right now for the holiday season, you can lock in Mint Mobile's lowest price of the year, $15 a month for premium unlimited wireless. So if you're tired of paying stadium prices for a wireless bill, then switch over to Mint mobile today and save big. Hit the link down in the description below or even scan the QR code right now to join today. Now, let's get back to the video. Now, the last bit of news I want to talk about is Kyler Murray possibly coming over to the dark side here in Las Vegas and being the Raiders' next quarterback. Now, this just did not come out of nowhere, guys. I've seen it all over, and I thought I'd talk about it, give you guys my opinions on it, and see what you guys think about it. And I know what you guys might be thinking right now. Hell no, but who cares? Well, let's talk about it though. Now, this was first brought up according to Press Insights. They had the Raiders as the favorites for Kyler Murray's next team at plus 300, stating that Geno Smith has not been the answer in Las Vegas. So perhaps Pete Carroll goes with someone else he's familiar with in the NFC West. The Raiders have a pair of young building blocks on the offense in Brock Bowers and Ashton Jeanty, but quarterback has been a big issue since the departure of Derek Carr in 2022. Now, as of right now, the notion is that Geno Smith is going to stay with the Raiders even next year because he's under contract with the team. And according to Vinny B, he stated last week that he does believe that Smith will be a QB1 in Las Vegas next year. But if that doesn't happen, a player that is almost guaranteed to be linked to the Raiders is Kyler Murray. On top of that, JT the Brick also mentioned this on his show, pushing back on the idea that Geno Smith won't return next season, arguing that the Raiders invested too much money in him to move on quickly and want to evaluate him for the rest of the year. He then talked about the Kyler Murray rumors, saying that the Phoenix media is already linking Murray to the Raiders, and while he publicly supports Geno as the team's current quarterback, he stressed that Kyler Murray is a highly talented 28-year-old who has only played for one team and is far better than many fans give him credit for. JT also noted that he is a big fan of Kyler Murray and sees the potential there, and anybody that doesn't see that and see Murray's ability has lost their mind. So with all that said, I thought I'd look at some of the pros and some of the cons to bringing Kyler Murray to the Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, this would have to happen in the offseason, and seeing the Cardinals and looking at their future, I don't think that he's going to stay in Arizona for much longer, whether they trade him away or have to just release him in the offseason. So looking at the scenario, if the Raiders were to get Kyler Murray, what are the pros and what are the cons? My pros that I listed at one was he's a true dual threat quarterback and a playmaker. He can extend plays with his feet. We've seen that before. Even in the game where they made that huge comeback against the Raiders in overtime. I know we don't want to talk about it, but there's that. He's also still 28 years old with a lot of football ahead of him and has had some proven production in the NFL. On top of that, he is an upgrade over Geno Smith, plain and simple. I don't know how much more, but it is an upgrade. Now, looking on the flip side, the cons to having Kyler Murray on this team: one is that he has an expensive contract. Two are the injury concerns. Three is his inconsistency. And last but not least is his leadership and maturity. We already know when the latest Call of Duty does come out that Kyler Murray might not be all in it. So at the end of the day, for me, I think that this move would be really interesting. It's a 50-50 chance. And I do like Kyler Murray. I don't think that he's a really bad quarterback, but then also do I think that he's the answer for us moving forward. I think the real big thought with me is I'm kind of tired of taking a chance on veteran quarterbacks that could possibly do good over here. I mean, I've had my hopes up real high with all the quarterbacks that we've brought in, even with Geno Smith, Jimmy G, Gardner Minshew, and whatnot. Yes, Kyler Murray is better than all of those options, but will he help this team take that next leap? I don't know. The skill sets are there, and I think that he would be a solid fit with the young players that we have on this team while also trying to build around the quarterback position. But the only way I would be okay with the move like this is if the Raiders address a quarterback in the draft. And that's something that I've continued to say over and over and over again with all the quarterbacks that we brought in. We continue to bring in these veteran quarterbacks without bringing in a young successor to possibly take over for the future. But I thought I'd bring that out to you guys because I thought it was interesting. What are your thoughts on possibly bringing Kyler Murray to the Las Vegas Raiders in the offseason? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Until the next video, this is your boy, Small Raider, and your boys, yeah.